Hey everybody, and welcome back to Chart Toppers. Been playing Chapter 6 for about 3 or 4 days now, really having a great time. Wanted to take this time to really talk to you all about some of my first impressions and tell you what I'm liking and what I'm not. So let's get started with the positives. The map. The map is incredible. I think anybody who's played so far would agree, honestly. The map has so many cool locations. There's like, gosh, it feels like 15 probably named locations on the map, which seems like a ton. And then we also have so many cool unnamed locations too to explore. They did a great job with the theming. Everything fits that Japanese, samurai kind of vibe. Just is a really cool, really aesthetically pleasing map that has awesome verticality. There's a mountain range going right through the middle of the map, something we've never seen before. I love the mountains in Fortnite. They're always fun to fight on, but they're always stuck off in the corner. And now there's a mountain range going right through the middle. So I feel like there's just so many more opportunities to fight on there and just a really cool place to explore. I feel like every Fortnite map starts off okay, but this one really feels like the end of a chapter and not the beginning of a chapter. So it makes me really excited to see where they're going to go from here, because I'm already loving it in season 1. So who knows what this is going to look like, by the time we get to season 3, season 4. So just really enjoying it so far. There's so many cool biomes to explore. The graphics are amazing. It has that great graphics art style that kind of reminds me of chapter 4 more than chapter 5, which I really appreciate. I just think they knocked it out of the park with the map. I could not be happier. Some of the other things that I'm really enjoying are the new movement mechanics that they've added. We've got 4 technically. We've got the wall scramble, the wall kick, the roll landing, and the ledge jump. All of them are really cool. They don't feel like super drastically different than anything we had before. Not like sprinting or mantling whenever that was introduced, where it felt like a completely different game. This feels very much like a continuation of mantling. It works really well. I don't really have to think about it. The landing one where you roll is probably my favorite so far. I really like the animation, and it works really well. And I just think that it's just a cool addition. Nothing drastic, but fun. I'm a really big fan of the new sprites. So there's technically 3 sprites. There's an earth one, a wind one, and a shield one. I've only seen the earth one once. I think they really need to buff how often you find them, because I've been looking for them and I have a hard time. Maybe that's just me, but can't find them very often. The other 2 though, you found them all the time, the wind one and the shield one. The shield one is awesome. Whenever you pick it up, it will stay on your back and take up an inventory slot, and then you can throw it down and it'll act as a chug splash and like a shield keg, and it'll heal you and your teammates. And then the wind one is very similar in that you pick it up and it goes on your back, and then when you throw it down, it will actually kind of create like a launch pad rift to take you up in the air. And it's really cool. The only problem with the wind one though is it technically has like 3 uses, but since you use it to get somewhere else, it's kind of weird, because like you're not gonna take it to go somewhere else and then come back and grab it again. So I kind of hope they change that to where when you throw it down and then use it, it like teleports to you or something, because right now it's just kind of a one use only item, and it doesn't really seem like it's worth an inventory spot to just use one time. We also have a new mechanic called boons, which are very similar to the augments that were in chapter 4. They have a few of them right now. There's not too many of them, but there's one that like makes you move faster when you have your pickaxe out. There's one that heals you when you're in water. They can do a whole lot with these. They've kind of already got the framework considering the whole augment idea, but I like these a lot. You can only get them, at least to my knowledge, from these special like shrine chests that you can find. And they're not super uncommon, but they're not super common either. And the only complaint I have with them is you can't drop the boon once you find it, and sometimes I'll kind of pick it up accidentally whenever I open the chest. So I would like to see you be able to drop them for like your teammates to use, because sometimes you may want to drop one for your teammate that really doesn't fit your playstyle or something. So I hope that's something that they consider in the future. The medallions from chapter 5 also return, but this time we only have 2 right now. There's one called the Wanderer medallion, which makes you invisible while you're sprinting and also gives you infinite stamina. So basically you can sprint forever and then you're invisible while you're sprinting. Pretty broken at times if somebody knows how to use it, but you're not completely invisible. It's kind of like the Mysterio invisibility, where you kind of have that like little purple outline around you. Definitely a fun one when you have it, but can be a really annoying one to fight against, but still it's pretty cool. And then we also have the Night Rose medallion, which this one allows your weapons to automatically reload. So if you have like a machine gun or an SMG, you can pretty much just keep firing it, or at least for a lot longer than normal. This one is really cool and also can be extremely broken with the right weapons, which we'll talk about in a minute. I'm also really glad that they brought back the motorcycles and the dirt bikes. I really like those. They're not amazing. I mean, there's really nothing crazy about them, but they're fun. I'm all about having more options for cars, boats, helicopters, whatever in Fortnite, and they're really fun to use. So I'm definitely happy that they brought them back. All right, next up, I want to talk about a few things that I'm a little disappointed in. And unfortunately, it's kind of a big one, and it's the weapons. We've got several new weapons. Pretty much everything is a new weapon, actually, in Chapter 6, which is great. I'm all about new, but at the same time, I think we definitely need some adjustments already and potentially a few new additions. So let's talk about the ARs first. So we've got the Hollow Twister AR and the Fury AR. Both of them are really good. The Hollow Twister is definitely the better option of the two. The Hollow Twister has the holographic sight from Chapter 5 on it, and you can actually toggle it this time. So if you want to use it in third person, you can. Don't really see a lot of people doing that, but you have the option, which is nice. The Fury Assault Rifle shoots faster than the Hollow Twister, but the Hollow Twister hits a little bit harder and, of course, has that hollow scope, so a little bit better at range. These guns are both really good, and unfortunately, I think they may be a little too good because they're so good at pretty much every range that it's hard to justify even using other weapons right now. We also have two new SMGs, the Surgefire SMG and the Veiled Precision SMG. Both of these are really good. Again, one of them is better than the other, but the Surgefire SMG is kind of like the P90. It does pretty good damage. It has a cool gimmick where the longer you fire it, the more accurate it gets and the faster it shoots. So it's pretty cool. I like the gun. It's definitely fun to use. But the problem with it is the Veiled Precision SMG is just pretty much better in every way. It has the red eye sight on it, so it's nice to have a little scope. And then it also just doesn't have hardly any recoil at all. And it's almost more like an AR than an SMG, so you can use it at pretty good range. It's a really good gun, and if you have the mythic one from the boss at Demon Dojo and have the medallion from the Demon Dojo boss, it is, I'm talking Foundation MK7 levels of broken. It is extremely, extremely good. You can absolutely melt people. So I think that'll probably get adjusted at some point, but in the meantime, enjoy it while you can. The suppressed pistol is also back, which, woohoo! I don't think anybody's really caring, but they probably had to have a pistol because you need something whenever you spawn in from the reboot van. So not the best gun in the world, but you know, it's fine in a pinch. Now on to the guns that I think are really, really bad, and I hope something changes with them. The shotguns. So I've always been a shotgun guy when it comes to Fortnite. I like the SMGs fine, but I've always liked the shotguns more. And this season, the shotguns are broken. They are not good at all, at least in my opinion. Sentinel Pump is my favorite one. It's just kind of your standard pump shotgun, but it doesn't feel great to use. I don't know what it is. I don't feel like I can hit consistent good shots with it. And I don't know, maybe that'll change with a little bit of practice, but I'm just not loving the feel of it. The Twin Fire Auto Shotgun, I thought it was going to be kind of like a drum or a Frenzy Auto Shotgun, but it just feels horrible to use. And the thing I really don't like about it is, one, it doesn't seem to do that much damage, and then two, the reload for it is like astronomically long. It takes like 5 seconds to reload, and you can't just reload like 1 or 2 bullets at a time. You have to reload the entire magazine. So if you miss and then have to reload in the middle of a fight, I mean, you're gonna have to just switch weapons or just accept defeat at that point. The Oni shotgun was the one I was really excited about when I first saw it, because it kind of reminded me of like a heavy shotgun or a double barrel, but this is definitely not the heavy shotgun. It only has 2 shots, and I think the maximum amount of damage in its current state right now that you can hit with a headshot is 120, and it only holds 2 shots. So in zero build, which is what I usually play, if you hit somebody at full health, full shield in the head, that's 120, and then you hit him again in the head, that's 120, so we're up to 240. So you now have to reload, and I mean, by that point, I mean, you're toast. I mean, someone's going to get you for sure. So I just feel like the weapon itself, it feels good to use. I think that's probably my favorite feeling shotgun, but it just doesn't do enough damage to justify only having 2 bullets. And I mean, I'm no pro, so I mean, the chances of me hitting 2 headshots in a row and then reloading and then hitting him again before getting killed are pretty much slim to none. So I hope that they at least change the damage, or maybe even add like 2-3 more bullets to this gun, because in its current state, it's just not fun to use. We also have a new sword. It's called the Typhoon Blade. I thought this was going to be like the kinetic blade from chapter 4 whenever we first saw the trailer, but it's actually completely different. But I may like it even more. It's a lot different, but it's really fun to use. So you can sprint faster with it, and you don't use as much stamina whenever you're sprinting using the Typhoon Blade. It's kind of interesting that it actually has like a percentage bar that goes down. I kind of thought it would be like an unlimited thing, but I guess I do understand why they would probably want to limit it. But it has a pretty good attack combo. You can really melt some people. I could see it being really broken in builds with that, not having the overshield. But it's fun to use. I really enjoy it. I think it's a cool item, and I'd like to see, what people are doing with it in a few weeks when they've kind of figured out how to use it a little bit more. There's also 2 new mask items that are really neat. One of them is called the Fire Oni Mask. It allows you to shoot like these like fireballs out, and they kind of home in on enemies. It's hit or miss. I could see this being completely useless in builds, but in no builds like I play, it has its use. It hits like a tank, so it does like 100 damage, I think. But it's kind of slow, and if they're behind something, it doesn't do a very good job of like homing around like a tree or a rock. So the chances of like hitting somebody with it are not great, but when you do hit someone, it's really good. So I don't hate it. It's a cool item. Now, on the other hand, this other item, the Void Oni Mask, is amazing. It is so much fun. It is technically a mobility item, but when you use it, you throw like a projectile out, and it creates a portal. And you use the other button, the aim button, to teleport to the portal. So you can do some crazy plays where you throw a portal out behind an enemy, and then you're shooting at them, and then they're going to cover, and then you can teleport behind them and finish them off. You can use it to get away from people. You can use it to get somewhere. It has 15 uses, which I think is a pretty good amount. It doesn't feel like a crazy high amount, but you also feel like you can use it. And then the mythic version has 50 uses, which is basically unlimited. I really like this item. And again, I am really excited to see people who are way better than me in a few weeks when they've mastered this thing. The plays that we're going to see from this are going to be nuts. Like it's really cool. I think it's one of the coolest mobility items we've ever gotten. I love when Fortnite kind of reaches into its bag of tricks and creates an item or a weapon that's like out there. And this is definitely one of them, but it's super fun. You would never see this in any other game, really. You might have noticed I have not talked about any snipers or explosives or DMRs. And unfortunately, there are no snipers, DMRs, or rocket launchers, grenade launchers right now. And I think that is probably my #1 complaint with the chapter so far. I'm a sniper in this game. That's my favorite thing to do. And I understand a lot of people don't like sniping and don't like snipers especially, but I think this map would be so much fun with a sniper or even a DMR because the verticality is amazing. You have all these cool sight lines, and right now the weapon with the most zoom is the Hollow Twister AR with that holographic sight, and it's just not the same. You can't have really long range combat with it, and I really hope that we get a sniper or a DMR soon. And on the same coin, I really hope we get a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher or something like that too. I know we have the Fire Oni Mask, but it's not really that great, and I'd like to see us just have an RPG or something, because in my opinion, we should always have a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher in every single loot pool, because why not? I mean, it's not super busted, it's not overpowered. Like, let's just always have it. It's useful. If you want to use it, you should be able to. So in conclusion, I'm having a great time. I hope that we get a few of these things that I just talked about, but at the same time, the map is just so good that I feel like it's leading to some fun fights no matter what weapons we have right now. But hopefully we'll get a larger loot pool soon. I'm always a fan of large loot pools. I think Fortnite Remix that we just left had an amazing loot pool because of how many weapons there were. I hate being forced into a particular playstyle, and this season right now feels like I'm definitely being forced into the playstyle of I have to have a hollow AR, and I just don't like that. I want to be able to use what I want to use, not what's the objectively best weapon. So hopefully they make a few adjustments, but overall, this has been really fun. I can't wait to see what they do with the rest of this season and the rest of this chapter. I think we're in for a treat. Who knows what they're going to add next, but thank you guys so much for checking into this video. Remember to like and subscribe if you liked it. We're going to have a lot more Chapter 6 content coming up. Thank you guys so much. Have a great one.